All right, Cris Mills. Yeah. How you doing, man?
Good, bro.
Thank you for coming on Rebalancing Health and Performance.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Really appreciate your availability on being here. I know you are a busy man. You got a lot going on.
Occasionally, dude. But yeah, happy to, man. We've known each other for like over 10 years.
Yeah.
Happy to help.
Yeah.
Happy to chat surfing and training.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, that's right. It's over 10 years. I think I came to you to see you in Mosman.
That's right.
What was called the gym?
Momentum for Life.
Momentum for Life with Lila.
Yeah.
I came to you specifically because I started getting into the CHEK stuff, or I started familiarizing with the CHEK stuff, and I was looking for a trainer specifically that was doing CHEK for surfer. And guess what? Surfer strength coach came up, and you were just in Mosman, and I was living in Newport Beach in Sydney.
And now you're a Checkie.
And now I'm a Checkie myself. So definitely inspirational, that encounter, and amazing. That was great. That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Lots water passed under the bridge.
Life has gone on, and now we find ourselves on a different coast of Australia.
Oh, still on the East Coast because one of the best, right?
Just north.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about yourself, your journey as a coach. Obviously, you're not Australian. You
America, bro.
American.
God bless America.
Good stuff.
So I grew up in Florida. I grew up like East Coast, like Cocoa Beach area, and then moved across the coast. And growing up, mostly skated.
Yeah.
And surfed here and there, and then, high school, college, started surfing more, but was still involved in athletics, like soccer and the rest of it, cross country. And so I was always like in the skate/surf world, but people, like, I wasn't a jock, but I was into sports as well.
Yeah.
Like I did martial arts and boxing and soccer, and so like the meshing of the two always just made sense to me, of athletics and athletic preparation and surfing.
Yeah.
But since surfing was this egotistical bullshit wannabe counterculture, it was like anti-jock. But like, again, like I would hang out with the skaters and I would surf, but then like I could hang out with the athletes too. And so the disconnect never made any sense to me. And then, I've had a laundry list of musculoskeletal issues and injuries, and then serious health challenges. And that's what drew me to the CHEK stuff specifically. Okay. Like I think Paul Chek's approach is really unparalleled in some regards. Nowadays, since he's more into the woo-woo, energetic, what is God and soul stuff, that's the information he puts out. So I don't think people realize the capability of the orthopedic rehab that Paul Chek taught, and if somebody really goes through that curriculum, can do. So navigating just life and injury and athletics and surfing, I just kept trying to mesh them together. And so, here I am. I think I did my first CHEK course when I think it would have been almost 20 years ago. And here we are. Still trying to...
Was it that back in America or in Australia?
Yeah. Majority of them have been in the States.
Okay.
I've done a few since I've been over here, but the majority of the courses were over that way.
Yeah.
And then like I studied under Guy Voyer I had to go back to the States for a few years, and so was taking a lot of the Eldoa related classes and some of the other Guy Voyer stuff. And then I still just keep going back towards the CHEK curriculum and his approach. It just makes sense to me in trying to, again, navigate myself and my own musculoskeletal issues and my own health challenges. And so that's kind of the foundation, the lens through with which I kind of look at training and rehab and surfing in general.
Yeah, I totally agreed with you. Like, there is not really anything that is comparable to the CHEK approach.
No. I've had conversations with some of the higher level practitioners that it wasn't until I really started training with Susie and Donald and Mark that you get an understanding of the orthopedic relevance.
Yeah.
And I think nowadays, a lot of the CHEK stuff, the information put out there is, if it's coming from Paul, it's more of the God, soul, the HLC, holistic lifestyle coaching aspects of information.
Yeah.
And again, at a high level, I think the orthopedic musculoskeletal rehab, strength and conditioning is incredible. I just don't think that's portrayed enough.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until the higher levels, and I'm still trying to work it out, that I understood the potential impact of that type of training. So yeah, I'm just trying to figure out my own body and other surfers.
Yeah. And I guess the surfers, like many other, sport in general, I feel like is unnatural for the human body. Like in terms of is repetitively doing. It doesn't matter if you're going side to side, running, bicycle. Is obviously brings on a list of potential injury, overuse, and etc. And specifically for surfer, there are quite a lot. There are quite a lot because surfing is so demanding on the body.
It requires full expression of musculoskeletal movement, like three-dimensionally.
Yeah.
Full spinal extension, full spinal rounding, max rotation, and it requires from the body things that are not reinforced or helped through day-to-day lifestyle, and especially like being sedentary.
Yeah.
So the problem becomes when people age, along with they acquire or accumulate musculoskeletal injuries just from whether it be surfing or just daily life.
Yeah.
But then they start getting sedentary, and then they try to take that body back to surfing. It's a difficult jump to get the sedentary, injured body back to being surf capable.
Yeah.
Versus people see these Groms and pros. These pros, their body has adapted to surfing over 20 plus years of an accumulation of surfing. And so, yeah, I think it's when people get, this is, I think, mostly expressed in the ability or the loss of the ability for people to pop up, because that pop up from a movement perspective is really demanding. Max extension of the spine into full flexion, rounding, full deep hip flexion, knee flexion, ankle flexion, like that full compression. And if there's anything off with the spine, hip, knee, ankle, that process alone, and if you can't pop up, you can't surf.
Yeah.
But that's just, I think, one movement example of the sport that it really demands a lot from the body. I mean, I honestly think if I didn't have my understanding of the body plus my willingness to train and enjoy training, I wouldn't be able to surf. With my neck injuries and low back injuries and stuff, if I was to become sedentary, surfing's gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. And another point I think that is important for the people listening and watching this is that beside the injury at the hip, at the knee, at the ankle, at the shoulder, that they can come, or at the lower back, that it can come from poor mobility, let's say, or structural restriction. There is another element which is in the CHEK, or was the one that really brought to the world was Paul CHEK of the core, the deep abdominal muscle, which once you don't have control due to poor conditioning or lifestyle factor, right? Because it's really important and a lot of people don't understand. Once that is not functioning properly, then the hip are not going to function properly. The shoulder, the posture, and all that accumulates, and then you go out, you try to do Kelly Slater stuff, or
and it's again like you can think of core out, and again, you and I both know just from our own bodies and training how relevant that can be. But again, the problem becomes anybody over the age of 30 likely has some orthopedic issue and probably some, if it was an MRI, some spinal degradation of some sort. That doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be pain. But the problem becomes when there's an accumulation of those things over time. So take your average 50-year-old plus surfer.
Yeah.
If it's a blown knee, MCL, ACL, 2 disc issues, whatever. That core, which can be anything around the pelvis, back muscles, the actual core six-pack, pelvis, adductors, glutes, hamstrings, those tissues, I heard somebody say, I don't remember which trainer it was, but they worked with a lot, it might have actually been Paul CHEK, when working with like Olympic caliber people, he tries to get them to be 30% stronger than their sport requires. Because then there's such a buffer of strength and capacity. So again, you take the average 50-year-old surfer, they're sedentary, they're deconditioned, there's some musculoskeletal issues, and now you've got to get this core, anything around the front and back side of the body and the pelvis, 30% stronger than what their sport requires. Like, that's training. Like, there has to be some significant training. Get the erectors strong to be able to hold a paddle posture for hours potentially on end. A functioning core to stabilize the spine through extension to flexion. Get the glutes. So like this core out, but everything around the pelvis just has to get so capably and tissue quality strong again. I mean, I think it has to kind of be prioritized.
Yeah. And I mean, I follow on the tissue quality, which tissue quality at the end of the day, a lot of people perhaps are still, although is well known, but people don't understand, is the tissue quality is not about, I mean, training plays a role. Of course. But realistically, the health of the body and the health of the tissue comes from lifestyle factors. Right? The food that you eat, the sleep, the hydration, and the care as well, like foam rolling, stretching if it's necessary, obviously for the individual, and that's a really important for rehabilitation from injury.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah,
you talk to really experienced people that do hands-on work and the quality and health of tissue, like rolfers come to mind. Like, you can talk to them and they feel tissue differences from person to person. And it goes back, a lot of personal lifestyle stuff. Like, have they not been adequately feeding their body, both from food, but then also hydration for decades? Like, that stuff accumulates.
Yeah.
And so again, it all has to be taken to an account. And again, I think surfing, what I'll often tell guests on our trips, but then clients as well, is like, surfing will reflect to you your life and lifestyle and holes. It brings a mirror to these things. So like, again, I say this from having done a lot of surf trips now, is that you'll see the emotional baggage people are bringing, and it reflects itself in the surf or affects their surfing. But then also surfing will highlight what musculoskeletal strength or mobility deficiencies are there. What's your like general personality characteristics and traits? Like, is that how you're behaving in the work? Is all in the surf is also how you behave in home or work lifestyle. So again, it's this kind of mirror that will often expose things about, again, our personality or character traits or just our physicality.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Absolutely. Emotion will reflect in everyday life, no matter what we do.
And I don't think people give that again, I can only speak from this of having done our smallest surf trips 10 days. Usually they're longer.
Yeah.
And so like we've been doing it for years now to the point where we see this over and over and over. Like first, we generally always will inquire about their athletic background and histories, or like you see somebody move and how quickly they're able to onboard technical coaching and apply it to the surfing. And then you start digging like, were they athletic in their past? Like what sports did they or did they not play? And all that stuff relates. And then again, all the emotional stuff. Like you see how people behave in a lineup or don't behave, or do they onboard information you're giving them? Or are you giving them positive praise and they deflect and get weird with that? And then you start kind of peeling the onion over 10, 12 days of a coaching trip, and you end up hearing stories from them about how their parents treated them, and that's reflected in their ability to onboard coaching. Or again, it's wild. Like you start seeing the unraveling of the psychology of a person on extended surf trips and surfing, but then also all the physical stuff as well.
Yeah, the psychosomatic, right? And that has a lot to do, obviously, with the experience of the person, but the health of the nervous system of the person. Because obviously, if someone is always on a go, sympathetic driven, right, hard to relax, their movement, how they present themselves, there will be. It's like when I have my double shot espresso, right?
Yeah. Hell yeah. Ramp up the system.
Yeah, ramp up the system, and go, and that can also cause over time tension through the muscle.
For sure.
Breakdown of tissue more quickly and be less resilient to injury or heal from injury, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is, again, so it's not about only doing deadlift, chin-ups and foam rolling, as we are an integrated system, right? With 12 system, depending on who you're talking to, 12. There is 13, somebody else would say, but it is a complex system that we're dealing with. And surfing, talking about the nervous system, I feel like another important factor is the situation where you are in, right? Are you comfortable? Is it the wave?
It's the wave environment. Yeah. It goes back to that whole mental state.
Yeah.
And that again comes back to some of the individual personality traits. So again, like, is somebody comfortable in that wave environment? Is it too big? Do they have a previous, like, I can't tell you how many guests have had, there's some previous near drowning experience in the surf, or they've gotten hit by a board or something. And so again, all of that's ramping up the system. What an example of this is, over the years, I like being scared in the surf. Like, some people are driven with that. Other people, just depends how they individually react to kind of that fear stuff. But I won't drink coffee if I know it's going to be a really big day. That's kind of got me ramped up anyways, because my nervous system's already ramped up. My heart rate's already kind of up. So I'm trying to monitor and gauge that. And if I just overly caffeinate, I can't get my heart rate back down sufficiently. And that's just through some trial and error and my own personal kind of journey through that. But it goes back to, it's already in a ramped mental headspace that's having a downstream effect on the system. I don't need a bunch of caffeine on that.
Yeah, totally. It's powerful. Like, I mean, we can talk for days about coffee and coffee effect, but coffee is a powerful stimulant, right? I know myself, I can only drink a coffee a day and now, like, if I feel like I want a second coffee, I just gonna have decaf. I can't do it. And like, I'm Italian, and when I go back home and I see how Italian live and how many coffee and when they have it throughout the day, I'm shaking my head and I looking at myself and I'm stressing about just having one coffee a day. Anyway, going back to surfing and injury, and getting a board on the head. I mean, we treat people for musculoskeletal injury, but and we know that there are other injuries for surfing, but also a very common injury, or perhaps it's not so clear, but concussion from
Sure.
getting bored and waves,
Yeah.
because waves are hard.
Heavy.
Probably I think I told you that time, and then we went surfing together up Astradi, that when I was younger I used to kick off of some wave and get it in the back of my head, and then I started realizing maybe I'm getting some sort
Minor
of
brain trauma.
minor brain trauma. I stopped doing that because I was when it wasn't open and it was closing on me, I was just kicking off and just laying back. And no, I don't do it anymore. But going back to the musculoskeletal injury, what do you think? I mean, I have some of my opinion, but it's obviously individualized. But what do you think is, or what do you see in your practice of musculoskeletal injury, not from impact for surfer? What is the majority that you see?
Probably back and shoulders.
Yeah.
Necks are up there too, but I'm not really, like necks I'll usually refer out pretty quickly. But lots of low backs and shoulders. Again, because I've spoken about the pop-up so much on social media over the years that I see a lot of older guys with jacked up pop-ups because of their jacked up backs. Those are probably the two big ones. But then again, like because surfing's so demanding, any limitations. So there's a bunch of the older dudes with knee reconstructions, hip replacements, but probably the two biggest would be low back issues and then shoulder.
Yeah, well, I mean, shoulder, we paddle for, 80%?
All we do is paddle.
Yeah.
It's not even surfing.
Just paddling all the time.
Yeah.
So that's an overuse, a maluse, thoracic spine mobility issue.
Yep.
And then jamming the shoulder and the back. I feel like, and still, I guess, I mean, if you don't work in the rehab type of work, you are a everyday person. You don't have the understanding of the different back issue, right, from the different position, right? Because back pain is a general term, but within that and the back issue, they can come from extension, from flexion, from side flexion from too much rotation on one side, right? So and I feel that's important, because some people jump online and I got back pain, let me try to do this. and then maybe they lucky they get the right exercise for.
Yeah, like you bring up people won't know, but the differences of like an anterolisthesis versus a stenosis versus a disc bulge. And again, like a lot of these older guys have multiple, and so there is a need. I think it's easier here in Australia. Like I tell my older guys, I'm like, go get an MRI.
Yeah.
Like just let's get some clarity on what it is structurally.
Yeah.
And then that kind of will dictate, not necessarily 100%, but like you brought up, are they more intolerant to flexion or extension?
Yeah.
Surfing requires both.
Yeah.
And so just starting to have to work with what they've got. And then, like you brought up thoracic spine, we go back to the older dudes, there's maybe some stenosis of the low back, so they don't like extension through there, but they have no thoracic spine, upper back extension. It becomes, there's the musculoskeletal deficits of just being sedentary and age and accumulation of injuries. Yeah. So there does need to be some specificity around that low back training, just figuring out what their actual orthopedic pain generator is, and then seeing if that correlates with what you're seeing in the gym.
Yeah. And I think another one, I mean, I see it, is hip, especially for the back leg of surfer. Probably a lot of people don't realize how much that back leg is in a position in which is not designed necessarily to be for so long, and creating internal rotation, constant internal rotation, and how much that creates torsion on the pelvis, right? But yeah, the health of the and I guess if we want to open up on that discussion of the internal rotation is also related to, is there a structural things? Perhaps they don't have internal rotation and that position is very demanding on them. So everything else is not like that they needed to stop surfing, right? But the care of everything else above or below, it needs to be on top of it.
Yeah, bring the rest of the body up to its best, work on whatever available hip range they have. Make sure the ankles can move. Try to get the thoracic spine moving somewhat.
Yeah.
But a lot of the older guys, like I often recommend to them, have you ever heard of surf knobs?
Surf knobs.
Surf knobs. It's this like Velcro strip that you put on each side of the surfboard. Surf knobs, you should start giving me I should get a discount code to send people to. And it's these two knobs that are movable because you got the Velcro strip on each side of the board, which is removable. And then it's almost like the height of a yoga block.
Yeah.
And so it gives these older dudes another couple inches of hand raise. So it gives them a little more clearance for that front hip to come through.
Oh, wow.
But then, so again, like we were talking about, maybe there's a loss of internal rotation on the back leg. Maybe there's a janky knee. And so often they'll have to adopt a wider stance, which is fine because the modern surf stance is a lot more narrow than, like you look at like Buttons and some of the guys that were surfing in like the 70s at Pipe and stuff, like a lot wide, way wider surf stance. Yeah. And so with these older guys that have some musculoskeletal stuff, you put them on some surf knobs and you get them a wider stance, and that can really kind of reinvigorate some of their surfing because it's just not necessarily as demanding of a position. But
so the surf knob is, explain me again, is for your pop-up. You place your hands on it.
It's for the hands, So it just it elevates the hands off the boards a little more. So it just gives a little more clearance for that front leg to come through.
Leg to come through.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. Surf knobs, hook me up. Let's go.
Good stuff. I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Oh, so good.
Yeah.
And what else? Don't worry, I'm gonna edit this.
That's fine, man. All good. We've got plenty of time. I'll have to stop about 10 minutes before 2, so we still have at least another 30 minutes.
Okay, cool. So hip, pelvis, ankle mobility. I think another point that you keep bringing it up is that ankle mobility, right? Because once again, some people don't realize how, again, distal to proximal or away from the area where you have an injury. I just worked recently with someone that has seen other people and they didn't look at his ankle mobility and they were just treating the knee. And he had a significantly restricted left ankle mobility, and that was bringing. And he was a skater, a surfer. He's a skater, a surfer, basketball player, and that made a huge difference. It's basically that's what healed the knee. I didn't do much else than mobilizing the ankle when I found that that ankle was restricted.
Yeah,
and especially for the back leg.
Yeah.
There is much more demand on that in that cruising on the
and the way I see it on your forehand, if you're we'll talk about surf stance, and here at Surf Lab and through my coaching, I think being able to apply pressure over the front leg is really relevant for the developing surfer. I think a lot of the intermediate surfers are way too heavy on their back leg most of the time.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at is if we can become aware of those foot positions and foot pressures, if you're on your forehand, take for example like a barrel crouch, tiny little barrel crouch, that back foot can move and the heel can lift off, you know? And so we want as much dorsiflexion, ankle flexion as possible, but it's free to move around a bit. We can move that back foot where that front foot's planted. And so I'll chase, you know, as much ankle dorsiflexion as possible out of both legs. But I also see it really important for that front leg when we start talking about sufficient compression. So from a surfer being totally standing tall to the tiniest of barrel crouches. Or that position when they pop up and they just get their feet underneath them. Hands are still on the board, but that front foot's now planted underneath them. Generally what's happening is that shin and knees having to travel forward over the foot quite a lot. So that's that dorsiflexion position. And so from even a stance perspective, if this is the foot and this is the shin and somebody can't bring their shin forward over the foot, if that's as far forward as the shin goes, they have to start getting real hingy, ass out surfy. And they're not able to shift over and get that body over the front leg. But yeah, you're absolutely right. The ankle, like it impacts everything up the chain. And again, I think for those positions and postures and for the pop-up, you need to clear the ankles, making sure there is enough available range of motion there. Otherwise, other stuff just gets beat up or it changes their posture.
They needed to be able to adapt to it. I mean, obviously some people, they can't because structurally they don't have it. Because it's very clear, like people, I feel like a message that I also want to get out there is this, like, the social media make you believe that, you know, stretching more, mobilizing more, and etc., you will get this amazing, you know, like super flexible body, but some people don't have that range of motion.
It's like a bone structure.
And if they keep going, actually they can hurt themselves, right? So I guess knowing those things is really important, and working exactly with an expert professional that has that knowledge is important. Especially nowadays with this, all that, the social media and etc., which we're part of it, but we try to put out.
We're part of the cesspool, man.
But to put out a message that is clear. Some people don't have it, and consequently, again, above and below, wherever it is, it needs to be take care of it. And
for sure. To go back to the cesspool of surfing social media, and you know, I made my first surf fitness YouTube video like 13 or 14 years ago. And so I'm not the biggest voice by any means, but I've been a voice for a while. And I've grown to be repulsed and tired, and just, it does my head in, and I'm part of the problem. But it's weird that surf coaching and training is still in its infancy. Like, maybe I just don't follow other sports close enough, but like, in surfing, the new thing in the surfing social media fitness realm is like 3 exercises for a better backside barrel ride. I don't see other like social media things of 3 exercises for a better touchdown pass for like football. Or like 3 exercises for a better penalty kick. It's fucking stupid. But that's just me like griping and being bitter, but I find it ridiculous. And it's maybe just because the surf training fitness world is still in its infancy, and it will grow past that. And it's like, there's certain movements that would help support a barrel back ride position, like the backhand barrel. But that's one of the hardest fucking things in surfing. A backhand barrel, like your 3 exercises aren't going to make you fucking get pitted at Greenbush. But would something maybe open up access to a hip joint? And maybe, if we do more deep lunges in the gym, you have better access, and there's length through the adductors, and the external rotators are stronger in a lengthened position. But anyway, that's just my gripe. I find it stupid.
No, I get what you're saying. Is like, that is not an exercise that is going to make you better at surfing in any way, shape, or form. Surfing is going to make you better at surfing. That's it.
It's just, what's the body's capacity you're taking to surfing. That's it. And then all the skills developed in the water. But Yeah, it's just my bitter old man.
No, it's totally clear. I mean, I see it as well in other things. I mean, we can probably is mostly use that type of promotional things for your bum or your quads or your pack 3 exercises to get bigger bicep and etc.
I get that completely.
But I mean, despite the fact that we know that, you know, having a good squat and what is a good squat for your body and be able to pull and push and etc. Absolutely, that's totally true in terms of that we need the ability to push, we need the ability to pull, you need the ability to lunge.
That's it.
Exactly. But then realistically, you can't really improve that. I mean, to an extent you can if you already have that skill, right?
So, like I work with one of the pros here as a coach as well, but I've done some work with him, and his initial, you know, he's having pain, and we go through some initial assessment stuff, and like he had some extraordinarily weak hamstrings. Yeah. Like you out there, you don't know what a Sorensen test is. He could only do a Sorensen test for not even 30 seconds. Yeah. He's a pro surfer. Mm-hmm. And me just doing some really low level, what you and I would consider phase 1, some stability ball work for the hammy, like basic stuff. He has already told me that he already feels the difference in his surfing and he can see it on camera. Yeah. Wow. That's just because he's taking a stronger movement capacity to his surfing now. Mm-hmm. And it's not that those exercises suddenly made him do better backside turns. Yeah. He's just a little stronger now. Mm. His musculoskeletal system has a bit more capacity and he's already got the skill. Yeah. So that's where that's an easy downstream. Whereas for the average surfer, we're just trying to build up more of a physical buffer. Do they have more endurance? Can the hips move better? Yeah. Can they deep squat more fully so they can access the bottom of that pop-up position? Mm-hmm. That's it. We're just trying to build a body that's more resilient and has more movement capacity, so then they can practice surfing in the surf. Yeah. Not being all jammed up and exactly. Being all. That's exactly right. Yeah. Yeah, because again, the recreational surfer has a job 9 to 5 of different things. Yeah. Imagine if you are a builder, you're working with your body the whole day. Yeah. Like is you crashing that body so much. And what if you are on a chair? I mean, obviously the two extreme. Sure. Right? If you are in an office, you're down on the desk, you crunch it down, your posture goes off, everything becomes rigid, and that's I feel like people look at professional surfers of the type of training that they do, and they perhaps try to imitate that, which is the quickest way to get injury. It makes no sense, because again, like your average recreational surfer that you and I are working with is above their 30s. Yeah. The average pro surfer that they're watching on Instagram doing these workouts is in their 20s. Yeah. And they're also top level professional athletes. And especially like the ones sponsored by Red Bull, et cetera, like these guys are top tier. Yeah. Getting body work and tissue work multiple times a week, like training. And so nice buff. What? Exactly. All of that. And so the average recreational surfer needs to look at what those pros are doing. Hopefully it's decent stuff, but then, okay, how do I take these concepts? Oh, they're doing high speed explosive squats. Maybe I just need to learn how to fucking squat. Can I just squat with body weight and keep my heels on the ground? Yeah. You know, like this downstream, and that's what you and I do professionally, is like the extrapolation. Like you said, people need to be able to pull, because paddling is pulling. People need to be able to push, duck dives and pop-ups. People need to be able to squat and lunge, because that represents the hip positions, ankle, knee positions that we find in surfing. Yeah. And it's taking those movements and breaking them down to a starting point for your average 45-year-old who'd sat at a desk for the last 15 years and has a torn MCL and a shoulder problem. And so again, I think it's amazing seeing pro surfers actually surfing nowadays But that the same could be said for any sport. What you're seeing top tier athletes doing isn't necessarily what the average daily person. It's the aspiration, but then how do I bring this back a couple notches to make this a movement pattern that they can do to start rebuilding movement capacity overall? And you know, like this pro surfer I work with, people would see the stuff we're doing right now, and it's basic stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I've got to bring him back up,
yeah,
and he'll progress really quickly. But yeah, the foundations need to be built. So again, like if somebody could just get good at squatting again and just basic lunges.
Yeah.
And can you do like push-ups with your hands on a stability ball or on a Bosu? Because that unstable surface pad position I do find helpful. And can they do clean chin-ups and pull-ups with full arm extension and elevation, and just some of those basics could be a really good strength program for some people. And then like you brought up builders, like somebody that's doing that manual labor, maybe they just need a mobility and flexibility program. More so than heavy training.
Yeah.
Or a couple exercises that help reinforce what they're doing, or maybe some of their injuries, but just making sure their body has the movement capacity versus somebody that's sat in a chair at a desk for 20 years. Like it's a different body than a manual, like a builder.
Yeah.
So
which probably the builder needs to be on top of his lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
Food, hydration, sleep, so important.
Yeah.
Less drinking, less coffee.
For sure.
Is so important. And once again, that part is religious. Like there is nothing that is going to give you the bang for the buck.
Yeah.
Bucks. What's that saying?
Bang for your buck. Bang for your buck.
Yeah. I say it all the time, and I never get it right.
It's perfect, dude.
Man.
It makes it even better. It makes it even better, man.
And what do I want to say? I want to say, the recreational surfer probably needs more a training program, a sensible training program that is designed considering what those people are coming in with.
Yes.
You know, their ability exactly to pull, push, and their mobility in the ankle and so forth, hip, ankle, shoulders, thoracic spine, and etc. But yeah, probably the recreational surfer, beside being in the water as much as they can, a sensible program means perhaps twice a week, not 4 mornings a week, 4 a.m. Clean and jerks and etc. And
good program, 2 to 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Like that's more than adequate. And then you just start filling the holes with their ability, filling the holes in terms of, do they need a little more cardio emphasis? Is it a little surf trip prep? Like all those things change the course. Yeah. Meaning if they've got a trip in 2 months, then there's going to be a little more demand on training prior to that. But the average person, if you can do a really smart, well-designed training program 3 days a week, like you're checking a lot of boxes. Yeah. The problem is I look at a lot of people's programs and it's just still too one-dimensional. You know, it's like, so they're not, I see a lot of people still doing body part splits. You're a surfer, you don't need to be doing body part splits. It's not bad, but it's not necessarily ideal. A well-designed program, 3 days a week, full body. Each training day is full body. Maybe there's a slightly different emphasis. Maybe one day is a little more endurance-based, but restoring range of motion and training with a bit of a hypertrophy emphasis in some ranges and making sure the joints can move well, that can be really, really helpful. Yeah. Just as base level. And then you start working towards specifics of the individual. Like, is there some shoulder stuff? Do you need to bring up more endurance out of the back extensors? Maybe there's a little more core emphasis. And then once they have movement, you can start getting into more rotational stuff. Yeah. And yes, I mean, you before you said about that you like it to have unstable surfaces where people train, especially for the upper body at first, because again, like depending on the shoulder issues, etc. But generally, I'm thinking like how every exercise, you're trying to get the most carryover and benefit.
Yeah.
First off, I want to have people to be able to do like a legit push-up.
Yeah.
On the ground.
Yeah.
Cool. But then as soon as we do that, a lot of what we're finding ourselves doing in the surf is that open chain unstable push, whether it's a push-up or a pop-up. Pop-up's a little more stable because the board has velocity. But when you're doing a duck dive, there's so much aberrant movement. So so in an ideal world, I want people eventually to be able to do ring push-ups.
Yeah.
Ring push-ups with their feet elevated. But can we start just the normal push-ups and bringing it onto a Bosu?
Yeah.
And then can you elevate your feet with your hands on a Bosu? Then the stability ball. But then I'll route people back into straight up chest press on a bench.
Yeah.
Because we want to go into a bit of hypertrophy and a bit of strength.
Yeah.
And then we take that back into that unstable. I mean, you know all this.
Yeah.
But it's that's where
it's important to our listener and watcher. Viewer. I think it is so important to understand, and I guess I want to throw a point in there that perhaps you're going to cover anyway. But those unstable surfaces for hand or upper body or lower body, that makes the body recruit more the stabilizer muscle, so you will feel a different type of pump, I guess, and so much more control, especially for the feet. Do it on unstable surfaces for the feet, and for good functioning feet is something. I've been playing around with pipes and doing cable pulls with pipes, and that's incredible. And Boso bowl, Swiss bowl, and there is a time and space on that. And
so going back to that pro surfer that I work with, abysmally weak hamstrings, unbelievable.
Yeah.
Even when we were doing just back extension back on ball, hip extension with the belt around the legs, like he could barely get 8 reps. Like that's weak.
Wow.
Mind you, all this he acclimated extraordinarily quickly.
He's an athlete.
Then we start going hamstring curls on ball, single leg hamstring curls on ball. Then I have to start having him go one arm, one leg cable pulls, where he's going in single leg deadlift but with a cable. Solid ground. Because I need that foot and I want a strength emphasis coming out of the hamstrings. But then as soon as he's good with that, we're doing it where he's standing on a Bosu. Because again, I just want his nervous system is so capable. And so now we'll route back and forth from sometimes strength development, flat ground, because it's easier for force output and strength gains on solid surface, but then back onto the Bosu just to keep the nervous system primed, but still challenge the hamstrings in a really unstable surface, so that foot controls having to go up through the posterior chain. And then you start going back into speed development in other ways, but I want people to understand, like, it's just because you surf, it doesn't mean you need to train on unstable surfaces. There's times and exercises where you want to be on an unstable surface just because of the nature of our sport, but not every. I had a consult with a girl recently, and she said, I'm trying to make all my training surf related, so I'm doing it all like on unstable balanced surfaces. And I'm like, no, you're missing the point. There's a time and a place where we want to be on an unstable surface, but just because you're a surfer doesn't mean you need to only train on unstable surfaces.
Not at all.
It's become gimmicky. But there is a time and a place where that stuff is really, really relevant.
And otherwise, like anything, if you train too much just on stable surfaces, you will plateau if you don't change, obviously, tempo, whatever, rest, weights, and etc. But you can develop pure strength on unstable surfaces significantly. As much as you can with 2 feet on the ground.
So you take your average female surfer. Average female developing surfer is surfing a surfboard with a bunch of volume. And I think even for guys, anything over 35 liters is annoying to duck dive. Right? I can duck dive a 40 liter board, but I can't duck dive as well as a 28 liter board. And then your average female has less upper body strength than a man of her same size, whether it be genetic factors or development in sport, whatever. So your average intermediate female surfer is surfing a board above 35 liters. And your average female, I've been doing this for a long time. Of course, there's outliers. Your average female isn't very good with push-ups. They need to be able to do push-ups. But as soon as I get that developing recreational female surfer solid with ground push-ups we're straight into dumbbell chest presses.
Yeah.
Because I want to develop more strength through pushing.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we get that nailed and there's a bit of a hypertrophy development and control, we take that right back into Bosu push-ups.
Yeah.
Because I want that strength carryover to come back into an unstable surface.
Unstable surface.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, by the way, the unstable surface, it feels really hard because you're not capable of creating that stability yourself, right? Is amplify our instability in the body, on the joints, and etc.
Exactly.
So is the control is not like that. If a Swiss ball would be sitting in front of us, it will be stable because it wouldn't be moving.
Yeah.
So what it does is, because it can roll, we put in our body that isn't unstable in certain joints, and that amplify that, and the nervous system wind up. So really good as well for warm up to wind up the nervous system.
Yeah.
And talking about unstable surfaces and feet, I think is, once again, feet are the base of support of the body, right? And if the foot is not functioning well, which it can be just your big toes, dorsiflexion, right? Then the whole foot wouldn't be working, and your ability to squat, to produce force. We're talking about, I guess, to give you an example, a flat foot or a pronated foot, a foot that rolls in, right? That's coupled with deceleration. So if you want to produce force, that's not ideal, right? And the training of that, which is really important, and it comes on really handy on unstable surfaces, obviously, depending on the individual, depending on that situation. And what are you thinking about that?
Yeah, I mean, you've seen the pipes, and you've seen here in the facility, we've got the walking sticks, and we've got all the wedges, and we've got the unstable pipes. Like, I think it's actually become a lot more popular on social media in the last year or two, but it's all the pipe work. I got turned on to Marv Marinovich, maybe over a decade ago. And so all this people balancing on pipes and shit now comes from the Marinovich training systems. And so he wrote a book way back in the day called Probot X. It's out of print now, but you can find PDFs online. And so I did some training with Nick Curson of Speed of Sport, who trained under Marinovich systems. Okay. And so I was introduced to all this pipe stuff and all this plyo work quite a while ago that is largely stems from some old like Eastern Bloc Russian methods. So it's amazing. So I think a lot of the foot, super relevant. So again, if in an assessment, I'm first off always looking at dorsiflexion and then want to just see basic foot function. And then if people can start doing unstable surface stuff, it can help bring up better foot function on an unstable surface. Funnily for me, my previously broken ankle, I'm more stable and capable with this foot on an unstable surface than I am on solid ground. Wow. But my nervous system is comfortable being on unstable surfaces. So there's both. I will challenge unstable surfaces with the feet, but then I also want to make sure people can do good lunges with foot control, single leg deadlifts, single leg, one arm cable pulls on one foot on solid ground. But then also going to, like we talk about ankle range of motion, full range of motion calf raises and full range of motion soleus raises to make sure there's strength at length in that full range of motion. And then take those feet onto the balance sticks and the pipes and the wedges. It's people don't train the feet enough. In our surfboard or as a surfer's body, that's how we're communicating with the board. The board and the sea and the wave. Exactly. Yeah. And so all that information, like if you look at a homunculus, like the size of the feet, like they're so huge in terms of nervous system innervation and proprioception and sensory reception that they need to be trained appropriately. And so again, I think there does need to be this back and forth with the feet of unstable surface stuff, but also getting strong and capable on solid surface. Yeah. And just trying to help restore like functional feet.
Functional feet. I'm just gonna have a look if the camera is still filming.
We've got about only a couple minutes anyways.
Yeah. You know what I want to ask you? Just expand on the homunculus so that people can understand what they're talking about.
So if they just YouTube, Google search homunculus, Homunculus or something, it's just a cartoonish representation. You'll see this figure with big hands, big genitalia, big feet, big lips, big ears, big eyes. And it's just a representation of kind of our sensory perception. So the nervous system's innervation of proprioceptors and sensory reception. So like, again, like we as a human organism get so much tactile feedback and sensory feedback through our feet, through our hands, through our lips, through our eyes, ears, etc. And so that homunculus just shows, I think equates to like nerve ending distribution.
Yeah.
And so the feet in this homunculus, you'll see them, they're huge. Same with the hands. And so we get so much awareness of our world through our feet, but then take that and extrapolate to us as a surfer.
Yeah.
Like our ability to balance ourselves and how quickly that afferent and efferent information into the nervous system is traveling and our ability to react to it. I've said this for years, and I wish every developing and also middle-aged or older surfer would just get sufficient at slacklining. Because you're getting foot function from it, but then that's such an unstable nervous system rich environment. But then you also hear the stats that I think among falls for the elderly is one of the major causative factors of eventual death. Because if you fall and you break a hip and then the injuries and the hospitalizations and you get an infection, if people could just be capable on a slack line or the pipes or the sticks that we've gotten there, that does so much benefit to foot function and taking into account the homunculus and the sensory perception, but then also our ability to stay balanced over an unstable surface and righting and reflexes. It's super helpful.
Yeah. And I guess to add to that, for the elderly people, that stability is also a stability at the joint and how the joint is going to move into the axis of rotation, which then it means that there is going to be a healthier joint, more mobility, or ideal mobility for that joint. But we're about to wrap it up. And what do you got going on? We here in Currumbin.
Surf Lab here in Currumbin. Come train, come skate. Stick around for the skate class if you want. So I see clients here, and then I've got surf coaching trips, surfstrengthcoach.com. We've got some coaching camps later this year and next year, but yeah, man, just I surf nowhere near as much as I would like anymore.
Yeah.
I'm too busy.
Work.
But man, doing it here. Life. Exactly. Surf Lab. Come check us out at Surf Lab.
Cool. Cris Mills, thank you so much, man.
Always good.
That was awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.